Good day, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be learning about the timeline of South Africa, starting from 500 BCE, which is about 2000 years ago, when we had the first farmers, the people who brought about the Iron Age. Now, this comes after the Great Bantu migrations, where people moved from the inland or West Africa to the southern region of this continent. And from here, people established farming settlements. They settled on lands that could provide them with cultivation and grazing lands for their cattle. That was about 500 BCE, and it was the result of the Great Bantu migrations. Now we move to the Swahili nations. Now the Swahili nations is a result of the interaction and the engagement that they had with other nations, including the Arabians, the Indians, and the Persians. Research shows some of the evidence or excavations that have been found. Some of the Chinese glasses were found. This shows how much influence this nation had. It extended as much as into Asia. They had a multiple chain of towns along the eastern coast of Africa, and they would interact with actually the Indian Ocean served as a means of transport. Like it served as a means of trade between countries that are found within the Indian Ocean, which include the Arabian Peninsulan countries, India, as we've mentioned, that those are the countries that they've already had an engagement with the Swahili nation. Now, the Swahili nation, it was a group of different Bantu speakers whom engaged in trade on the eastern coast of South Africa, as far as Somalia to Mozambique. So, due to trade, Arab sailors they followed trade as far as Mozambique to trade, and the language was created. The Swahili language was created as a means of interaction, so trade can take place. Now, as we move on to the first settlements or the first towns of the Southern African region, we have to note that the dates written there are the dates where the kingdoms or the empires had reached its peak, had reached its influence, where it has flourished. And we start with Mapungubwe. Mapungubwe came first before Great Zimbabwe. So Mapungubwe, it has existed at the confluence of Shashe and Limpopo River. It housed about 5,000 Bantu speakers, and the king was on top of the hill. His compound was placed on top of the hill, and archaeological evidence shows that Mapungubwe was engaged in trade, and they had a complex society. And yes, As we move on to Great Zimbabwe, now as Mapungubwe was reaching its decline, Great Zimbabwe was reaching its most influential moments because Mapungubwe was abandoned, and research shows that at some point, people who were living in Mapungubwe migrated north to Great Zimbabwe, and they stayed there. And this explains the archaeological features that are found within Great Zimbabwe. The stone-built walls, the stone-paved floors. The earthen structures that are still standing today. All of these Great Zimbabwe, like its influence and its peak was between 1300 AD. So we will be ending with the European explorers, which is Bartolomeu Dias. Now Dias was a Portuguese whom circumnavigated the continent of Africa. He did this in 1488 under the orders that were given by the king back then, and the goal was actually to find a passage that could link the Atlantic Ocean with the Indian Ocean, and that purpose led them to discovering the Cape of Good Hope and also circumnavigating the African continent. Thank you.